out and away we...
Bing bang!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Paddock Talk podcast. I am Kyle.
I'm Scott.
And today, we're going to be talking about a very penalty-riddled Austrian Grand Prix and our preview for Silverstone.
Wait. This just in. It is Friday. More penalties are coming through from Austria. Son of a bitch. We may have penalties going into the end of the British Grand Prix this weekend. So just keeping you guys in the loop, everybody.
Yeah, I think the FIA actually put out a statement saying Esteban Ocon's penalized next season for exceeding track limits.
Oh, so they took some penalties out. I thought it was into 2025. I mean, thank you, FIA, for taking it easy on the poor guy.
But,
oh my God, that was definitely a race. That was definitely interesting, FIA. But we'll get into the results of the Austrian Grand Prix if you guys didn't catch it. Nico Hülkenberg was the only DNF of the race in 20th. Yuki Tsunoda 19th. Kevin Magnussen 18th. Nick De Vries 17th. Oscar Piastri 16th. Valtteri Bottas 15th. Esteban Ocon 14th. Logan Sargent 13th. Zhou Guanyu 12th. Alexander Albon in 11th.
Then we had Pierre Gasly in 10th. Lance Stroll in 9th. Lewis Hamilton in 8th. George Russell in 7th. Carlos Sainz in 6th. Fernando Alonso in 5th. Lando Norris up in 4th. Sergio Perez in 3rd. Charles Leclerc in 2nd. And big shocker again, Max Verstappen is your winner. Aside from the penalty, Scott, what do you think of the race?
I didn't see that coming. You know what? I always do like a good Austrian race. Come on, Lando Norris in 4th. Are you kidding? That McLaren, that junk box at the beginning of the year, was in 4th place. Not bad. Alonso kind of off kilter, finishing 5th, not on the podium. I don't see that happening too much often the rest of the season, but it wasn't bad. The penalties were just ridiculous, though. That seems to be the pretty much the story of the whole race is track limits. FIA definitely kind of needs to figure this out before we go back to Austria next year.
Yeah, near the end of the Grand Prix, it seemed like the commentary was more talking about the drivers that weren't getting penalties versus the drivers that were. It seemed like, early on in the race, Lando was calling out Lewis at every corner for going over track limits.
Yeah, I was at work, so I was kind of catching a little bit here and there. But yeah, just you hear Crofty going, another 5-second penalty for track limits. And just, I get it. I really do, but yeah, you're the best drivers in the world. You got to learn to keep all 4 tires on the track, or keep at least 2. Fernando Alonso didn't have any issues. I'm pretty sure the Aston Martins were probably the only team that wasn't penalized that race.
One of them, yeah. I know one driver possibly suggested adding a strip of grass beyond the white lines out of bounds, just so it does give the driver something to be cautious about when they are going to be going out of bounds. Because as of right now, there isn't anything like that. It's just like pavement, isn't it?
It is, because I believe it was a few years back they put the sausage curbs, especially that last little section right before the front stretch, and cars were getting destroyed. A lot of damage, but you're not supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I understand if something happens, it's not your fault, but it's gonna happen. But you gotta learn to keep your car on the track. Either that, or I hate gravel. Gravel tends to, really screw up races. You just go offline just a tad, and if you get stuck, you're screwed. Race over. But if you look at Silverstone, within about a meter of the white line, there's gravel. on some of these corner exits. So maybe they need to either do grass or gravel. Just put like a little patch, so if you do go offline, you're gonna pay the price.
Yeah, they obviously need to do something because it can't be every Grand Prix weekend. The biggest storyline is the penalties and the FIA and the stewards. It needs to be about the racing.
Yeah, because the the race finishes weren't even official. What, 3 hours after the race? 2 hours after the race?
Yep.
We get a notification saying, "Oh, well, 12 penalties have been handed out after the race. Here is the new finishing order."
Yeah, it's crazy. We should probably go through all the penalties.
Yeah, take us through them if you got
Yes.
them pulled up.
Yeah, I do. So the first penalty was on Carlos Sainz, a 10-second penalty. Lewis Hamilton got a 10-second penalty. Pierre Gasly got a 10-second penalty. Alexander Albon got a 10-second penalty. Esteban Ocon got two 5-second penalties and two 10-second penalties. Logan Sargent got a 10-second penalty. Nick Debris got a 10-second penalty and a 5-second penalty. And Yuki Tsunoda got a 5-second penalty, all for exceeding track limits. And I believe some of them were also for not serving time penalties correctly. So, again, the FIA...
I believe Yuki was that one as well. I think he had that as well. But yeah, I think there were a couple for not serving them correctly.
Yeah, and it's just, again, another example of the stewards just on this tirade of penalties ever since they were called out by Gunther Steiner.
You know, he's going to call them wankers. It's going to happen. That's the next Drive to Survive episode right there. Just book it.
Yeah.
These stewards are freaking wankers.
Wankers. I need to call Gene. Do you think the stewards are just trying to flex their muscles right now?
I don't know. I remember last season it was the same at Austria. They were having track limit issues, but it wasn't to the extent of this. I think as I was listening to, I think it was FP2 today, there were 100 penalties throughout the weekend. I think 110 or 12 penalties throughout the weekend. But a good bit of them were in practice sessions where, your just lap time was deleted. It didn't mean anything, but it's still logged as a penalty. That's a lot. That's a lot for a 3-day weekend. Something has to be done. Like they're really going to have to either not redesign the track, add stuff to make the drivers pay, or next year we're going to face this. Drivers are going to take, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. With track limits, I really love the Austrian track. Then they re-signed a new contract to 2030. But I think at 2024 there's going to be something there. There has to be.
Yeah. I would say one positive out of it was it made Lewis Hamilton very upset during the race. And I think it gave us one of our best sound bites of the season so far when Lewis was complaining about how bad the Mercedes was, and Toto said, "Lewis, we know the car is bad, just drive."
Yeah, when your boss is on the phone just saying, just shut your mouth and drive. But it's the Lewis that, that's his prime Lewis. Mm-hmm. When he's complaining about the car and the car isn't that bad. Like, I mean, you got to think when he rattled off those 6 drivers' champions in a row. Or, I'm sorry, 1, 2, and then 4 in a row. The car was always crap. The tires were gone, this and that. Like, he was bitching and complaining about every little thing. We're back to prime Lewis. So that means maybe the second half of the season, maybe Mercedes is going to make a little charge, maybe knock the Red Bulls off the number 1 step of the podium a couple races. I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. But it's great to see Lewis back to normal at least.
Mm-hmm. Other notes from Austria, it was Ferrari's 800th podium in Formula One. Charles Leclerc getting that with his second place finish.
I'm sure he was just happy not to get a 20-second penalty and got knocked off the podium 2 hours after the 800th podium finish for Ferrari, because that would have been great.
Imagine if they celebrated that, and then a couple hours later they were like, "Psych."
Snag.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that third place or second place trophy you have? And Charles like, yeah, that's not yours anymore. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it would have been like
But hey,
earlier.
great race. Oh, that would definitely be FIA material right there. But yeah, all in all, it was still a good race. The Haas cars were absolute trash. Nico Hulkenberg had a great qualifying session, and just the car imploded. Kevin Magnussen with a typical last last five finish. I like seeing McLaren. They were the worst car at race one, and now they are getting points. Lando Norris with a fourth place finish, but yet the Haas cars are. As a Haas fan, I just give up. Like, why do I even root for these guys? They're just gonna break your heart. They're like that high school crush you had. She's just gonna break your heart. I just wish they'd spend money. Like, I'm glad they got Nico Hulkenberg. He is getting potential out of the car. And in the qualifying session, it shows Q3 seems week in, week out. But the finishes are just atrocious. I love Gunter, but is this a time where maybe you get a new team principal? This just can't keep happening. Like, there is no progression. It's always just race pace is garbage. Great in qualifying. They drop 10, 15 positions after qualifying, and then it's acceptable to finish 15th or worse every race with the occasional point finish. I was so excited with Haas beginning of the year. Maybe they actually worked on the car, developed it, and just week in, week out, just breaks my heart to see them keep falling and falling. Sorry, I feel better.
No, vent if you need to, but no, yeah, I agree. Especially Kevin Magnussen. I feel like he had a couple good showings last year, but it feels like he's just been outperformed by Hulkenberg all season so far. And
yeah, Hulkenberg has been great.
Yeah, and I was hearing something the other day, and kind of how Haas, it seems like it takes them an entire season to figure one aspect of the car out. Like, they kind of have figured out their qualifying, but like you said, the race pace just still isn't there. Like, is it going to take them a whole nother year to figure that out? Degradation, is that going to take them a whole nother year to figure out? It's like you said, like,
yeah, but then something new is going to be screwed up. Like, they develop an aspect of the car that's going to make it quicker, and then they totally screw up another part. What was it? 3 years ago, I want to say 3 or 4, when they had the overheating issues with the tires. Before the upgrade, the car was fine. Quick pace and a little bit of race pace. They did a development. The qualifying was the same, but as soon as you got 10 laps into a race, they just fell like a sack of bricks in the Atlantic Ocean. Like, they just dropped all the way to the bottom. And then they figured out, hey, let's go back to the original setup, and they were okay. I'm assuming they're spending money. Like, I'm assuming Gene Haas is writing checks to people to do jobs. It's year 7 of the Haas F1 program, and they've been a laughingstock the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Gene just needs to, instead of keep writing checks and expecting the same performance, needs to start making moves. Like, if you actually want to be competitive in the sport, you need to start spending your money actually wisely instead of paying inferior people. I'm not saying Gunter's bad at his job. I think he is really good, but we see with a bunch of other team principals, if you're going to have 1 or 2 down years, you're gone. Like they'll replace you, like in any other sports franchise. If you don't consistently show improvement or win a Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, or whatever, yeah, you're fired after 2 years. Maybe it's just something Gene needs to do. Like he needs to actually look at it.
Yeah, yeah. I never really thought about like the F1, the leash is so much shorter, you know? Like in North American sports, like head coaches, GMs and stuff, they could have 5 to 10 years in a job, but F1 it seems so much. Obviously, like Horner and Toto have been there forever, but the people under them, if they don't perform, like you said, like 2 years tops.
Yeah, and as a constructor, they're only seventh with 11 points.
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo and Williams are within 3 or 4 points, both. So if the
Yeah.
Williams keeps looking strong like it does at Silverstone, Haas can fall to ninth by the end of
Yeah,
the British GP.
I was just gonna say the exact same thing. The way friggin' Williams is looking today, Haas is gonna have to look out. But
Oh,
I guess with that transition, we'll get into Silverstone.
nice.
So, go ahead.
Go right ahead. Sorry. No, sorry. I need to cool off from my. You take a sip of something. I need to cool off.
Yeah.
I'll let you settle the ship.
Speaking of Williams and Silverstone, Williams is going to be sporting a special livery this year. They're going to have it's called the Union Jack flag, like the flag of the United Kingdom, kind of all whited out on the back of their car. It looks really good in my opinion, but it's going to be their 800th Grand Prix at Silverstone. Scott was doing the math earlier, and he still doesn't believe it. He feels like Williams is throwing in fake Grand Prix in there to bump up their numbers. But
Okay, get my Charlie Day conspiracy theory thing. But yeah, like I was doing quick math. Maybe they were adding in when Frank Williams was an independent team owner, like the first time he was a team owner, because there's been two Williams teams. I don't know if any of you new listeners or anything knew that Frank Williams started a team and then sold it to a Canadian team, Wolf, and was out for a few years and then restarted Williams F1. So maybe they added the original. I don't know, but it just seems sketchy. The 800s right at Silverstone. And I
yeah.
was doing the math. I think it's a little off, but that's just me. But still,
Yeah, and like you
not bad.
said,
800 starts in Formula One is nothing to laugh at.
no, it isn't. It's incredible, especially when you consider Ferrari's 800 podiums from earlier, Grand Prix and podium difference. I guess you can get multiple cars on the podium, but sticking with Silverstone and Williams, they were probably the most impressive looking team today in the free practices, with Alex Albon finishing third in FP1, you said? And then I think
In
Sargent
FP2 as well.
FP2, yeah, and then Sargent P5. Obviously their
Yeah.
upgrades are working. They're building some pace, and they're not the laughing stock of F1 with Goat Tiffy uh, as the benchmarker every week or the back marker.
Yeah, like the Williams has always had a straight line car. Like at Monza, that just seems to be the only track where Williams was going to be dominant at. But if you look at Montreal, I was actually watching a little F1 TV, a little tech talk, and they were showing some of the split times with the Albon and Verstappen. And the Williams was a faster car through the majority of the track, the straight line speeds. But the Red Bull with their downforce, with the chicanes and corners, were pulling 4/10 quicker laps, but they were still on par with Red Bull or faster the majority of the lap. Yeah, their upgrades are definitely showing improvement. Albon is a serviceable driver, and he's showing it. He's digging Williams out of a hole. Like FP2, I've said it before on pods, is kind of the benchmark for your qualifying laps, because this is the time they're going to be qualifying. Everybody runs their qualifying setup, and I mean Albon didn't disappoint. third fastest, Sargent fifth. I'm not saying it's going to be a top 3 starting position, but I mean, we could possibly see both Williamses in Q3 tomorrow.
Oh, wait till we get to our predictions.
Oh boy.
I've got something spicy
I'm
cooking.
kind of scared now. Hmm. And also, too, during the week, F1 announced their new F1 calendar for next year. 24 races. We heard this year. This was going to be the longest F1 season, but we've missed 2 races. So, but next year, it's official. 24 race season. And the first 2 races are going to be on Saturdays. What was the holiday? Do you have that pulled up?
Ramadan.
Because I blanked.
I believe
Yes,
it's
so they
Ramadan.
will be, and both tracks being in the Middle East, they're going to uh, let the people celebrate Ramadan and race on Saturdays. So
Mm. One
awesome for
other
F1.
one other change to the calendar that I like is they moved Japan up to April. So hopefully we'll have a little bit better at Suzuka, and also April in Japan is cherry blossom season. So just great, like when you see all the pink trees and stuff in Japan, it's that time of year. So I think it'll just make for better visuals on TV.
Yeah, well, that's well said on it. Definitely a better time of the year, but Japan's always been, the last race of the season, or like the last few races of a F1 season. So it is kind of weird being it early on, but
Hmm.
let's shake things up.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask you, do you think they're do you think they're making just this year a little bit longer to make up for the 2 races we missed this year? Or do you think they're gonna continue this? And is the schedule getting a little bit too long for your liking? Because it seems like the drivers aren't gonna enjoy it.
Um, I think 24 is perfect. I am almost positive 24 is the max races they can have on a calendar from their Concord agreement with all the teams. They all agreed on it, so it's not like F1 just saying, "Hey, we're just going to run 24." They did have a set cap for races in a season, but I mean, it's more racing. I like it. I have no issue, like, because something's going to happen next year. China's going to get taken off the schedule again, so we'll be back to 23.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I
I don't
figured
know.
they were gonna.
I'll believe it when I see it, when we get a 24 race season. But these guys get paid a lot of money. It's not like they're riding in coach flying to each race back and forth. It's not like they're struggling. They're getting privately chartered flights. Your athletes, deal with it.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, poor guy. You have to ride in a private chartered flight from Great Britain to Japan or China. You're riding with your team, your best friends, and your manager. You're sipping wine. You're eating freaking caviar, chilling, sleeping in peace. Man, I feel for these guys.
Hmm. Another thing the F1 they keep saying when they release these calendars is that they're trying to locate the races closer together, like in a short time span, just to save on their carbon footprint because they're doing the, clean by 2030 or whatever. But just looking at
Yep.
the calendar, they go from the Middle East to Australia, Japan, China, so that's all in the same, and then they fly all the way to Miami and then back to Europe. So that's not very
Yep.
close. And then where's the other one on here? Uh, there was another race that's just way out of the way. Yeah, like 2 races in Europe, back to North America, and then back to Europe. Why can't you just have all the North
Yeah.
American races in like the middle of the season?
So I actually watched a video on this about a year or so ago about why they can't. Because they actually, believe it or not, listeners, they actually have a reason why. So if you push Miami, say, towards when they're running the Austin race, well, yeah, September, October is hurricane season here in the States. And Miami is ground zero for hurricanes. So they try to put races here and there when the the weather's going to be right. If you move Austin, say, to June, where Canada's run, yeah, the summer in the Midwest and here in the States, especially there, Tornado Alley. Just massive storms, tornadoes through the whole Midwest. So I understand Vegas is just Vegas. They're in a desert, like the weather's not really big there. So they can kind of, it's best to run, in November because that's going to be cool. Not like when they originally ran in, the summertime and, drivers were passing out from heat exhaustion. But there is a rhyme or reason. They have to take weather in the areas under consideration. And if they move, say, Montreal to
middle of
earlier
December
in the season, it's going to be cold. It is still Canada after all. Yeah, so it's kind of they have to go through a fine-tooth comb how the weather pattern looks for each race. Like the deserts races, they don't get rain. The temperature stays the same. They can kind of put it wherever they want, like either beginning or end of the schedule. Sorry, I went all meteorological on.
No,
my apology.
No, my apologies. I never considered forces of nature into the F1's calendar schedule. But no, that's a great point. That makes complete sense as to why some of those races would be a little bit earlier, a little bit later in the year. The calendar is also going to begin in late February and end in December. They didn't say when in December. I'm assuming before Christmas. Obviously, it's late in the month, but
it's probably going to be I didn't even look. I think it's going to be probably like the first weekend in like December.
Okay.
Because Vegas is the second to last race, and that's Thanksgiving weekend here in the States. So it would probably be the first weekend of December in Abu Dhabi.
Nice. Shall we get into
so the month of January will be the only month without F1 cars on tracks. But, testing starts at the end of February, then the season starts in March. Yay! We don't have to wait 5 months for racing to start. I like it. Should we talk about another car on the track at Silverstone? But go ahead.
No, did you want to get into your predictions first for Silverstone?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should definitely save that for last. Qualifying. I'll go first.
Okay.
Third place. It's been threes all day today. I'm going to say threes all day tomorrow. Alexander Albon qualifying third.
You're in my brain. You're in my brain, dude. Alex Albon, same here.
Wow.
Who do you have second?
Interesting. Checo Perez. I got Checo going second.
I have Fernando qualifying second.
I knew you couldn't do it.
I couldn't.
Well, I guess on pole position, I am going to go for the massive shock, the massive change of direction. Max Verstappen. Who do you have?
I have Max Verstappen qualifying first as well.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stay on the horse till it bucks you off. Max Verstappen has been the fastest guy all weekend. It's going to stay that way. Unless Lewis Hamilton puts a tire on him going into Cops. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's happened before. Okay, so last place finisher for the race. I'm going to keep a trend going here now. It used to be Yuki Tsunoda would be my last place finisher. But you know what? Yuki, you're done. I'm never going to pick you last again. I'm going to go with a Haas every week, and it's going to be Kevin Magnussen finishing last.
Oh my God, he's in the spite at Haas, dude. He's spiting Haas now.
Yeah, like until Gene calls me and asks me my opinion about the team, it's going to be Haas.
No,
it's Kevin Magnussen.
It's completely warranted, Scott. I'll be right there with you. I'll have Hulkenberg finishing last. Both Haas's finishing last at Silverstone.
You know what's going to be funny though? Nico Hulkenberg will qualify like fifth, and then like finish last because they don't put a wheel nut on or something.
Yeah, and the engine will blow up again.
Yeah. Third place finish. I think the race predictions here are going to be a tad different. I really hope. But his home Grand Prix, the guy is money at Silverstone, Lewis Hamilton, on the bottom step of the podium.
I think Lewis is going to have another weak performance at Silverstone. Fernando Alonso is my
wow,
third
Alonso third.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a little bit more faith in El Plan. I have him finishing second. The Aston Martin still is the second most consistent fast car on the grid, and I think Alonso shows he still got it and muscles that car to second place. Who do you have?
So the only time I ever put Fernando third on the podium is when I have Max second, which I'm doing this week. Max is going to finish second at Silverstone.
Okay.
I'm just going off the board this week, so you'll see who my first place is.
Well, you know, I went conservative. I went for the safe bet. Max Verstappen is my race winner because why the hell not? Like, unless he gets food poisoning by Daniel Ricciardo, he's not going to not win. But, okay, who do you have winning?
Too much is going right for Alex Albon this week. The Williams car is looking good. It's looking quick. Alex Albon, first career win in F1.
No, my mic didn't cut out. I'm literally shocked right now. Are you shitting me?
I'm not
Alex
kidding.
Albon.
I told you it was off the board.
Yeah, I got to move to Canada because you're smoking something that's way better than anything anybody's ever smoked before. If Albon's getting the win, I mean, top 5 maybe, but it's still a Williams.
I wanted to go way off the board. I've been getting bored of the safe picks.
Oh, Jesus. You know, if I wanted to go for an off-the-wall pick that would never, ever come true in a million years, I would pick a Haas to finish second and first.
Hey,
every race.
Silverstone's crazy. It could rain. Cars were flipping over, flying into the crowd last year. Happy Zhou Guanyu's okay
protesters,
from that,
yeah.
Lando's already talking about people jumping on track. They got extra stewards working. They got extra security working. Shit's gonna be crazy. Silverstone might burn down.
Dude, why didn't we actually volunteer to be security?
Good point.
Next year.
Yeah.
Maybe Montreal next year. We'll see if we can get in. Shit, we gotta learn French though.
Yep. And I know you were talking about the Haas's of 4 to 5 years ago earlier, and that just put one picture into my mind, and it was the Rich Energy Haas. And it seems as though Brad Pitt's the filming of Brad Pitt's new F1 movie is taking right from Haas's book. Their Apex GP car looks just like the Rich Energy Haas.
It literally, like, I shit you not, loyal listeners, it looks exactly like the Rich Energy car. When I first saw it, I was like, wait, did they actually like take the Haas Rich Energy cars from the factory and use it? But no, they're Mercedes built cars. So who the hell am I to say anything? Definitely a lot of Rich Energy shades, but I do like that black and gold look on it.
Yeah, it looks really sharp. I'm more or less just excited to see the new movie when it comes out. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, they're going to be filming all the rest of the season now.
Yeah, and Brad Pitt's going to be driving the car on track, correct?
Yes. So apparently he will be driving the car on track. He will be leading the cars in the formation lap. So Max Verstappen will actually have to look at the back of another car for the first time on a formation lap since when? Uh, since Jeddah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if Max Verstappen okayed this or they okayed it with Red Bull that Max won't be the first car on track. Does Max Verstappen actually try to spin Brad Pitt out? Is the question. Really, everybody needs to ask themselves.
I'm hoping Lando calls him on track limits.
Yeah, you think the stewards hit Brad Pitt with a 5-second penalty for track limit violation?
Yeah.
Oh, but I really, really, really can't wait next year, like with Brad Pitt and Kaczynski doing this movie. Like, I'm digging it, man. I really am. They're filming the rest of the year. I believe at every track the rest of the year. Oh. They're gonna do this like mounting cameras on the car, like so we're gonna get first person point of view stuff. It's gonna look like an actual race on screen. Can't wait. Did you actually catch the number on Brad Pitt's car, or should we say Sonny Hayes, as he's called in the movie?
I did not. Is it 69?
No. So, you're bringing the old cagey veteran in to do this movie in Brad Pitt. So you got to pull the old cagey veteran number. He's got number 7, a la the Iceman, Kimi Räikkönen. Which I guess you can say, since it kind of looks like a Lotus from when Kimi came back to F1 after his 2-year sabbatical. Maybe that's what they were going for. But yeah, like they even have their own garage set up for their fictional team. And not gonna lie, it's an F2 car that's modded out to look like a Formula One car. It still looks faster than a Haas, really. So like it'll probably actually put out faster times than a frickin' Haas.
Oh, the Haas fire festival has begun.
Yeah, everybody, if you Haas hating basher, join us on social media because you are our people. Well, you're my people at least. I don't know about Kyle, but I will join in the bashing. I will make the memes. I will become the hater.
Yeah, we'll continue.
I will Fuchs smash Gunther Steiner's door.
This Haas tirade will continue every week until Gunther is on the podcast.
Oh my God, can we? Oh, can we? Please. You'll not Fuchs smash my door. Yeah. Build a better car. I'll just hit him with the old Christian horn. We'll fix your fucking car.
Fix your fucking
Anyway. Well, did you have anything else to add on to this so I don't go on another tirade?
No, sir. I think we hit it all.
Unlucky episode number 13. So, well, I guess that's it for the show. As always, I appreciate all you listeners out there listening to our really sexy voices talking about F1 and hearing me rant and complain about Haas F1. Really appreciate everybody. Please feel free to interact with our social medias. Let us know what you're thinking about race weekends, everything else. Who's your top 3 in qualifying? Who's your top 3 race predictions? Love to see it on the old Facebook wall, Twitter wall, or Twitter feed, Instagram. Please let us know. Thank you for listening. As always, I've been Scott.
I have been Kyle.
Enjoy the British Grand Prix. We'll talk to you guys later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Paddock Talk. Don't forget to like and share the episode, and check us out at Paddock Talk on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord.